The end of the year has always been a polarizing time for me. I mean, I like the festive holiday period as much as the next guy, and there is definitely some charm in it. But at the same time, if I'm feeling sad, depressed, or just not in a good mood, seeing all the lights, the decorations, the smiling people, and the oftentimes fake feeling over the top positivity can make me feel even worse. All of these people seem to be happy. Why am I not? I think to myself, beginning the spiral of self hatred. At times like this, I often seek out art to comfort myself. After all, one of my favorite quotes of all time is, "Art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable." I fully agree with this. I think a person can find true solace in art, in fellow human expression, in paintings, sculptures, video games, literature, music, and of course, in film. And today I would like to share with you some films, as well as specific scenes in those films, that after watching them, make life just a little bit more bearable for me. The Sky Above Berlin. One of the most life-affirming films I have ever watched. Wim Wenders' 1987 film, The Sky Above Berlin, is a story about two angels who wander around Berlin. They listen and record the thoughts of its people, and comfort them if need be. Though the people around them do not perceive them, nor can they physically interact with the world in any way. Nevertheless, one of the angels, Damiel, falls in love with a woman and begins to long for human existence. To replace the eternity of an angel with the beautiful frailty of human life. Indeed, the film presents all the scenes from the perspective of the angels in black and white, while the scenes in which the mortal human characters are the focus are presented in color, showing the value of human life. And there is one scene in particular that I think shows the value of life in a beautiful way. Damiel, played by the masterful Bruno Ganz, meets the actor Peter Falk, who plays himself in the film. Somehow he is able to see him, or so he says. He talks a little bit about life, about what it is to live.
I wish I could see your face. Just look into your eyes and tell you how good it is to be here. Just to touch something. See, that's cold. I feel good. Here, to smoke. Have coffee. And if you do it together, it's fantastic. Or to draw. You know, you take a pencil and you make a dark line. Then you make a light line. And together it's a good line. But when your hands are cold, you rub them together. See, that's good. That feels good.
Sometimes you forget the little things. Well, after watching this film, I began to rub my hands together more frequently, even when I'm not feeling cold, just to prove that I'm still alive.
I wish you could talk to me. 'Cause I'm a friend. Compañero.
Sometimes you need a friend, a compañero, to remind you that not all is bad. Paths of Glory. Perhaps nowhere is human suffering more prevalent than during times of war. So much misery and death, but even in times such as those, there can still be some good. The ending of Stanley Kubrick's 1957 film Paths of Glory shows us just that. The majority of the film focuses on Colonel Dax, played by Kirk Douglas, trying to save three common soldiers from being unjustly court-martialed. At the end of the film, Colonel Dax's men are on a brief leave from the front. They drink at an inn and are presented with entertainment. The entertainment being a captive young German woman who sings for them.
Come on, honey, sing us a song!
At first, the soldiers see her as a sort of trophy of war, instead of fellow human being. Colonel Dex, witnessing this, probably thinks to himself whether his past actions of trying to save those 3 men were worth it. Is the common soldier just an innocent soul caught in this hellscape? Or have they already been fully corrupted by it, unable to display any empathy? But as he ponders this, something magical happens.
Und noch viel mehr, die Liebe nahm kein Ende mehr. Und als man ihm die Botschaft bracht, dass sein Herzliebchen im Sterben lag, da ließ all sein Hab.
Through the power of song, the power of art, the soldiers begin to sympathize with the girl. They hum along to the song and share with each other in a brief reprieve from all the pain and suffering that this awful war has brought.
Ach bitte, Mutter, bring ein Licht, mein Liebchen stirbt, ich seh es nicht. Das war ein treuer Sohn, der liebt sein Mädchen ein ganzes Jahr. Das war ein treuer Husar.
And at that time, Colonel Dex knows that what he tried to do was right. Of course, the scene is bittersweet, because shortly after this, the soldiers receive orders to move back to the front. The reality of the horror of war has now disappeared, and the kind human singing is drowned out by the cold, unfeeling drumbeat of war. Nevertheless, this is one of the most beautiful scenes in all of cinema, and watching this showcase of human compassion during the darkest of times never fails to give me hope. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Shawshank Redemption. For the next segment, I shall talk about 2 films, Milos Forman's 1975 One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Frank Darabont's 1994 Shawshank Redemption. 2 classics in 2 quite similar films. Both talk about men who are locked up in institutions that deny them their freedom, being overseen by cruel authority figures who revel in their power over other human beings. And both scenes I wish to talk about show how to fight back against such oppression. First, let's talk about Shawshank Redemption's opera scene. Imagine not hearing music for 5 years, 10 years, maybe longer, being deprived of something so essential. Andy Dufresne rights this wrong, and as an act of rebellion against the malicious warden, plays the opera on the public speakers. An act that Morgan Freeman's character Red describes perfectly.
I tell you, those voices soared, higher and farther than anybody in a great place dares to dream. It was like some beautiful bird flapped into our drab little cage and made those walls dissolve away. And for the briefest of moments, every last man at Shawshank felt free.
But as good as that scene is, I think I prefer the one from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Jack Nicholson's Randall McMurphy fakes mental illness in order to be moved to a mental institution instead of going to prison. He starts off as pretty apathetic to the other patients, but it doesn't take him long to realize how cruelly they are being treated by the head nurse. Nurse Ratched revels in power she wields over the patients. She has no desire to help them, only to maintain the cold status quo. When McMurphy pleads with her to let them watch the Baseball World Series, she gives him a cold and manipulative stipulation. They can watch the World Series if more than half of the patients vote to do so, knowing full well that the majority of them are physically or mentally incapable of doing so. Thinking her victory is assured, she leaves, but she has underestimated the power of the human spirit. With the power of will and imagination, McMurphy makes the other patients experience happiness and freedom, if only for a brief moment.
Koufax. Koufax kicks. He delivers. It's up the middle, it's a base hit. Richardson is rounding first, he's going for second. The ball's in the deep right center. Davison over in the corner, cut the ball off. Here comes the throw, Richardson rounding first, he goes into second, he slides, he's in there, he's safe. It's a double, he's in there, Martin. Look at Richardson, he's on second base. Koufax is in big fucking trouble. Big trouble, baby. All right, here's Tresh is the next batter. Tresh looks in, Koufax. Koufax gets the signs from Roseboro. He kicks once, he pumps, he fires. It's a strike. Koufax's curveball is snapping off like a fucking firecracker. All right, here he comes with the next pitch. Tresh swings. It's a long fly ball to deep left center. It's going. It's going.
You cannot cage the human mind and break the spirit of someone who refuses to be broken. What a comforting thought.
Mandel swings. It's a fucking home run.
Gentlemen, stop this. Stop this immediately.
The Mirror. Sometimes a film or a particular scene doesn't have to be about life, hope, the triumph of the human will, or anything that one would associate as being particularly uplifting. Sometimes you can't explain why something gives you comfort. It just does. That's how I feel about Andrei Tarkovsky's 1975 film, The Mirror. A film about thoughts, dreams, memories. Childhood. One's mother. A countryside house. A conversation with a passing doctor. Tall grass blowing in the wind. One of my favorite shots in all of cinema. Words fail to describe the emotion one feels when they think about their existence. About that one day 20 years ago. Sometimes you can't explain why something makes you feel happy, but you can certainly feel it.
Я не понимаю, почему вы так радуетесь.
Да знаете, приятно упасть с интересной женщиной.
Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. If I'm talking about the films that comfort me, I of course have to talk about my favorite films of all time, Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings trilogy. One scene in particular I always go back to, when all seems hopeless, is Sam's speech on the Two Towers. When all seems lost, Samwise Gamgee refuses to lose hope. Why do we struggle and try to do good when it seems pointless? When it feels like there's darkness all around? Samwise the Brave gives us the answer.
I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to something. What are we holding on to, Sam? There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo. And it's worth fighting for.
The ultimate antidote for resignation. A cry for good to triumph over evil, no matter in what form. It's a Wonderful Life. Since I started the video off by mentioning the current holiday season, let's end with something appropriate. The ending of probably the best Christmas film ever made. Frank Capra's 1946 It's a Wonderful Life. The film opens with the main character, George Bailey, contemplating suicide. We are then shown the many reasons that led to him reaching this breaking point, where he feels that his life is meaningless. Before he can go through with ending his life, however, an act of divine intervention happens. A guardian angel is sent down from heaven to show George the value of his life and what the world would be like had he never been born. At the end of the film, he begs God to give him his life back. A wish that is of course granted. And over the moon, George Bailey rushes home to his family and to one of the most heartwarming scenes in cinema. It may be a bit cheesy and over the top with song and sentimentality, but goddamn if it doesn't make me tear up pretty much every time I watch it. No man is a failure who has friends.
Hi dear Ernie, a toast to my big brother George, the richest man in town. That's a Christmas present from a very dear friend of mine.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right. Attaboy, Clarence.
When we are at our wits' end, we all need some help. Whether that comes in the form of spirituality, friends and family, love, or art. I truly hope everyone watching has at least one of these things in their life. Thank you for watching and happy holidays.